Get ready to unleash your inner legal mastermind and embark on an exhilarating legal adventure. Welcome to the Legal Odyssey podcast, where we dive deep into the world of law and bring you face to face with the sharpest legal minds in America. I am thrilled to be your guide on this wild ride as we uncover the hidden secrets of the legal elite. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Legal Odyssey podcast. I am your host, Haley, and today we have a true legal mastermind with us, Abraham Jaros, a personal injury attorney based in the heart of New York City. Get ready to embark on an exhilarating legal adventure as we uncover the hidden wisdom of the legal elite. Mr. Jaros, welcome to the Legal Odyssey. We are thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you. It's good being here.
So to start us off, can you share with our audience why you decided to become an attorney?
Growing up, we all watched Perry Mason, which made it fascinating. On a more personal level, my father was hit by a drunk driver while walking on a sidewalk, and my aunt was thrown from a bus in an accident, both while I was young. And both made an indelible impact because they had local lawyers who didn't really do a very good job in representing them or treating them. And it upset me greatly and something I never forgot.
It's really inspiring that you took those situations and decided to see how you could make an impact for others from those experiences. Your firm specializes in personal injury law. Can you tell us why you chose to focus on this practice? Was it due to these experiences that you had within your family when you were younger?
That had a lot to do with it, but I started out in criminal law, and the problem with criminal law is we discovered after about 10 years, you only deal with criminals, and there's very little personal satisfaction in that. It's interesting,
right?
But when you help someone who's injured in an accident, who suffered an injury, and weave and wind their way through a litigation to a good outcome, that's much more satisfying.
I think that's so inspirational. And so as you then developed your own firm, what would you say are the values that you all stand by?
One of the problems I discovered with personal injury lawyers and lawyers in general is lack of communication with clients. Where clients complain, they call the office, no one ever gets back to them. No one ever tells them the status of their case, how long it will take, what to expect. So communication, I think, is the key.
I agree 100%. I think especially when you're in such an unknown situation, right? You don't know what you're doing. So to have that communication and that insight is so important and valuable. And I think that those values really shine through in your reviews, Mr. Jaros. So now, personal injury attorneys, they really handle various injury cases, right? From someone being injured in a car accident, bike accident, or even airplane accident, all the way through to things like a bed sore injury or dog bites. So let's just briefly discuss some of the common questions that an individual may run into when dealing with one of those various injuries that you and your team can assist with.
Well, one of the reasons that personal injury law is interesting is because it's so varied, where you have all these different types of cases, and then even within different types of cases, there are various permutations. Each case is different and unique. There are three major, what we call legs to every case. One is liability. Why is the other side at fault? If the other side's not at fault, you're going to lose. You're not going to get any money. Assuming you have liability, what's your injury? And have you maximized your injury in a sense of seeing the right doctors, getting the right reports, and projecting the future as well as the past? And third is coverage. If you're struck by a vehicle that has no coverage or $25,000 in coverage, that's all you can recover. So to be successful in a case, you need all three, what we call the legs of a case.
That is really insightful because if you were to try to approach going down that, which that whole road alone, it would be unmanageable. But to have someone by your side in your corner helping you say, like, you need to get this medical attention, you need to get this medical advice is truly, truly valuable. And so when somebody does bring a personal injury lawsuit, can we get somewhat of a realistic idea of the time, the dedication, and work it could take to continue to pursue the case?
Every state obviously is different. I can only address New York. In New York, if the attorney prosecutes the case diligently, which is a big if by most attorneys who are busy, it can take 2 to 3 years or even 4 to 5 years. Forget what COVID did to the courts by shutting them down. This is just generally the courts are very busy and very backed up.
Right. Right. And I think that that's just important for people to understand what the turnaround time could be when it comes to pursuing these cases. And I'm so glad you mentioned New York City as well, because that's an important point. It's going to differ all across our nation. So thank you so much for clarifying that. Let's talk through a couple of the obstacles people face when they are hiring a personal injury attorney. What holds them back and how can they overcome that challenge?
What holds them back is basically ignorance, and not in a bad way, but people who live their life are not familiar with lawyers or what to do. They approach it one of two ways: speaking to friends, family, and neighbors, asking for a recommendation, or doing an internet search. My advice would be listen to your friends and neighbors, but realize that regardless of what result they personally got in a case, they really don't know if that was a good result or not. Because they may have settled a case for $30,000 that was really worth $100,000. They just don't know. So my best advice would be listen to your friends and neighbors, but then do an internet search and look at that lawyer's website. You mentioned reviews and testimonials. What do his past clients say about this lawyer and his law firm? And what results do they have? Have they taken verdicts? Are they afraid to go to trial or to spend the money to go to trial? Because unfortunately, insurance companies know the different lawyers and the different law firms. So there are law firms that take many, many cases simply to settle them early. There are other law firms that will process the case to maximize the recovery. And you really should know which type of law firm or lawyer you're hiring. And it's not the easiest thing to find out, but if you do speak to the lawyer and ask the right questions or look at the internet as well, you can get to the root.
And uncover what their goal is and ensure that it's matching what exactly your goal is with the case, right?
Well, my
That's
best example is there's one firm I'm aware of that has 800 cases with all of 2 lawyers and dozens of paralegals. And their whole system is to sign up the cases and to settle them as quickly as possible. And for some people, that's what they may want.
sure.
But if you're seriously injured, that's not really the way to go.
Right. Having a personal touch and having that individual strategy that is applied to your individual situation can be really impactful for the overall outcome of the case, right?
Exactly.
So, if you had to give one piece of advice, well, I'm like, when I go to say that, the advice you gave us just now was perfect. Searching those reviews on Google, on the website, searching through the outcomes that the attorney has had on their website, especially if when you go to look for those things, they're not there. That could be a red flag. So I think that's really great advice for those that are searching for a personal injury attorney in New York. So thank you.
The other advice I would give people now, meeting with a lawyer is free. There is no personal injury lawyer that charges to meet with you. So why not meet with 2, 3, 4, or even 6, as much time as you have, until you meet someone? Not only will you do the research on the internet, but you'll actually meet them and see their office, see what they look like, see how they speak to you, see how they handle you. and ask you questions. Will I be able to speak to you once you take my case?
Right? And which different questions does each attorney ask, right? Being talking to one person can limit yourself so much because absolutely that person is probably going to bring a wealth of knowledge. If it were me, a wealth more of knowledge than I would have in this situation. But that doesn't mean that's all there is, right? Like you said, to do your due diligence, search for the different attorneys and see what extra questions are asked, what extra steps are taken within the office to have care, what follow up is taken, how are they going to treat you throughout the next, like you said, 2 to maybe even 4+ years that you'll be working with the individual.
And it's always a good idea to visit the office and see what the office looks like, see what the people there look like.
See if it's welcoming, see if you're comfortable, right? Again, you're spending a lot of time working with these people and you're putting a lot in their hands for the next several years.
And not only that, but with a serious case, if you recover a substantial sum of money, it puts you on a track to be comfortable and you're compensated for your injury. We can't undo the injury, but we can obtain the compensation to make your life a little easier. And if you look at my website, one of the articles I have is, May I switch lawyers? Can I switch lawyers if I already hired a lawyer? And we over the years have gotten many calls and had many clients hire us who are not happy with their lawyer for various reasons. So I've heard all the problems, and this is my best advice. Meet with the lawyers, and if you're not happy with the lawyer you have, switch lawyers. It doesn't cost you anything. You lose nothing.
Right, that like you said, consultation's free. At least make the call at minimum. But yes, make
Exactly.
yourself comfortable. Agreed.
Exactly.
So that has been such amazing advice, Abraham, and such wise words. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing these invaluable insights into the world of personal injury law.
You're very welcome. Nice meeting you.
For our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this insightful episode of the Legal Odyssey. Remember, this podcast is not legal advice, but it is designed to empower you with the knowledge and insights from the sharpest legal minds in America. So join us next time for another captivating exploration of the secrets that will have you feeling confident in each life change. Until then, stay legally empowered.